YouTube, what's happening? It's Nocturnal Thoughts. What's happening, everybody? What's happening? Welcome to Nocturnal Thoughts. I am your host, Nocturnal. You love me? I love you more. Hey, real quick. Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. Um, the fight lived up to the hype. So my hat goes off to both fighters. But we got to cover a couple of things. I got to cover a couple of my thoughts, nocturnal thoughts. And where do I begin? Let me get me a little sip. Just a little sip. All right. Wet my whistle. Okay. First of all, Manny Pacquiao wins by split decision. Fair. I agree. 100%. Good, clean, fair fight. We all know how it went down. I was surprised to see Keith Thurman go down in the first round. Ironically, Keith Thurman had his best round in round 7. And I say that is ironic because if you can recall the Jose Zito Lopez fight, he had his worst round in round 7 of that fight. So, things got turned around a little bit. But shots out to the old veterans out here holding it down for the OGs, the young OGs. Like I said, your body is your temple. If you invest into it, it does increase in value and equity. Age is nothing but a number. You take care of yourself. So let that be known to everybody out there that's looking at 40 years old and thinking that we over the hill or whatever you want to call it. Look, man, when you can earn gray hairs, when you can earn wisdom will always be superior to youth. Youth is wasted on the young. The case between the old bull and the young bull. The young bull said, hey man, let's run down there and nail us one of those cows. And the old bull said, let's walk down and get them all. Please believe me. Anyways, it was a phenomenal fight, and it definitely lived up to the hype. Round for round action. It went the 12 distance. It was a split decision. Keith Thurman looked hurt real bad in the 10th round with a body shot. We all knew that Keith Thurman had issues with body shots, but I was hearing a lot of people say that Manny Pacquiao doesn't go to the body well. You got to understand, first of all, with his height, the way he's built, and the way Keith Thurman is built, it's perfect for him to go to the body. Perfect for him to go to the body. And then you see in the 10th round, Manny Pacquiao punches so fast, you almost couldn't even tell what happened. Most people thought it was a headbutt the way Keith Thurman reacted, but it was a body shot, clean body shot. Keith Thurman does wear his emotion on his sleeve. So he wears his pain. When he's hurt, it's obvious that he's hurt. That's why he looks so bad. That's why people were saying that he looked so bad against Jose Zito Lopez, because I thought he looked decent against Jose Zito Lopez, except for one time in that fight in the 7th round. But he just looked so bad when he got hurt that it stands out, and then it leaves a mark on people's memory. So Manny Pacquiao, which I figured would be able to be the case, was Manny Pacquiao put him in that position several different times. You know what I'm saying? But it started off in the first round with that combination. He went to the body and then went up top. Yeah, Keith Thurman was a little off balance, but he was also hurt, period. It just was a good, solid shot, 1-2 shot. After the 7th round, Manny Pacquiao took his foot off the gas pedal just a little bit. He coasted a little bit, but he surged whenever he had to. He went ahead and put on the onslaught just to cap off a few rounds. So Keith Thurman was able to hang in there. Keith Thurman did show a lot of dog and a lot of heart. You know what I'm saying? I can't really take anything away from Keith Thurman. He did everything that I expected him to do. You know, like I said, regardless of the hype that he was building up before the fight, because I don't believe, I'm like Public Enemy, you know, don't believe the hype. I know he did a lot to hype up the fight, but you could tell that he also did a lot to try to hype himself up, because he know, coming off of a 2-year layoff, fighting Jose Zito Lopez and not looking that great, going into a Manny Pacquiao, he was taking a shot, but he was banking on, this guy is old, and I'm going to be able to use my youth and my athleticism against his awkward style that has deteriorated with his age. He was kind of banking on that, but you can tell he wasn't totally convinced that that was the case. So he was doing a lot of, you know what I'm saying? This is what I always heard. The loudest person in the room is always the weakest person in the room. It's the quiet people that you have to worry about. Y'all will never see me in real life because this is YouTube. But any place, that's one thing I don't, it takes me a while, even you can see on YouTube, it's taken me a while to project my my attitude and my characteristics, because I'm always quiet and reserved and to myself, what they call a introvert. So, you know, you don't have to say much. You know what I'm saying? Manny Pacquiao never has been a big talker. But you can see Manny Pacquiao a few times where you can see he really meant business, because Keith Thurman talk was not getting in his head bit, but it was making him motivated. And there is a big difference. So, congrats to Manny Pacquiao. I disagree with everything Thurman was saying pre-fight, but I'm not going to give him too much flack because I agree with everything he said post-fight. And he showed some class. To me, he was you know, doing himself a disservice with some of the talk he was doing before the fight. He was starting to go over that line, like I said, Tony Harrison style. Tony Harrison to me went over the line with the talk. You know what I'm saying? Sounding a little bit ridiculous. Keith Thurman was starting to take his talk from out of reality into a little bit of a ridiculousness. And sometimes when you do that and you can't back it up 100%, then it looks bad on the other side. But he was, everything he said post fight, which what I figured he would post fight, he would eat a little bit of humble pie and come back down to reality and say everything that he needed to say as far as giving credit where credit is due, not making excuses. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to, he didn't make excuses. As long as you can't do all that trash talk, get beat, and then come back with a bunch of excuses. He would have lost all the points he ever would have had in my book. He would have lost all credibility if that would have been the case. So that wasn't the case. He lost, and he lost with integrity. He lost with he showed fight, he showed heart, and he showed respect after the fight, and no excuses. He didn't have any excuses. So, you know, I take my hat off to Keith Thurman. He showed to be a true warrior, but he also showed there's levels to the game, and he showed where his level is at, because I don't think he's going to get any higher. That's one thing you got to understand, because people was like, where is Keith Thurman going to go from here? Where is Manny Pacquiao going to go from here? Keith Thurman is on a level where he's showing you, this is the level that I set, and I'm going to stay here. Now, from this point on, as time goes by, he would only go down. He's not going to be able to go up. He can't. It's impossible. First of all, it's showing you that the difference between his generation and our generation would be Manny Pacquiao, and the only person to really say to beat Manny Pacquiao would be a Floyd Mayweather. So all those years he spent calling out Floyd Mayweather, it's kind of showing you confirmation that that would have been easy work for Floyd Mayweather. But he's never going to get the opportunity to fight Mayweather. He had the opportunity to fight Manny Pacquiao. We see the results, and now he's been set. This is where you set. This is where you were set. You know, you're not going to be able to climb back up into the ranks and go up to the top. If you go up to the top you got to understand that that's only because the top has to get chopped off. Manny Pacquiao has to retire and you know, and level the top off lower. Then you can make it to a lower top. But as far as the epitome, he showed where he falls on the levels, on the class, as far as great fighters. He is a good fighter. He's even maybe say a great fighter, but he'll never be at the top. It's impossible now. And to be honest with you, even if you look at his class now, if you look at you know, the Terrence Crawford's, which I'm still a little bit on the fence with Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman would be a good fight. I don't know who will win that fight. Money would say Terrence Crawford most likely, but we don't know if we'll ever see that fight. We already know what he would do with Sean Porter, but the big question I would want to see, actually, this is going to be a segue, so I'll save that. But him against Errol Spence, forget about it. We know what would happen. We know what would happen if he fought Errol Spence. And Errol Spence right now, honestly, only because of the time differentiation between him and Manny Pacquiao, I doubt we see that fight. Because if Manny Pacquiao, and this is just to be honest, if Manny Pacquiao was to take the same challenge with Thurman and take it with Errol Spence, he's going to lose that fight. Period. You know what I'm saying? It's questionable for me if Manny Pacquiao could beat a Terrence Crawford. That might be a close fight, but I think that Terrence Crawford would edge it out. But I think if he fought Errol Spence would retire him seriously. You know what I'm saying? There's just a difference. There's a difference in the levels. And in my opinion, I know I'm going to get some flack. I hope I do, as a matter of fact. I hope somebody calls me out on this. But there's a difference between Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol the Truth Spence. It just is. Errol Spence would beat Terrence Crawford. It just that's what would happen. Only thing I could look out there for Errol Spence to be in any kind of a trouble is he was to move up out of the welterweights and then see if his power would transfer into the heavier weight classes, and then the epitome of that would be Canelo. That's questionable. I'm questionable whether or not Errol Spence, because that's my guy, but Canelo is my guy too. So I don't know, between Errol Spence and Canelo, that would be a very, very, very tough, brutal fight. That would be a brutal fight. But Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, you know, not to me, it's not going to be as what people think it would be. I think Errol Spence would just kind of edge out that fight. Who's seen Adrian Broner interview after the fight? Adrian Broner, man. Adrian Broner is talking like he won the fight against Manny Pacquiao. He blows my mind, you know. He just like I just said, Keith Thurman, because that would be an interesting fight, to be honest with you, but you're talking about fighting at a lower class now. But Keith Thurman against Adrian Broner would be a decent little fight, but we know it's at a lower level. So Adrian Broner talking like he won the fight against Manny Pacquiao, that's a topic for another day. I'm gonna get back to you. Check out what I'm gonna say when it comes to Adrian Broner, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Sean Porter. Salutes to Manny Pacquiao. Hey, this is Nocturnal Thoughts. Thank y'all for checking in. I'm out. Peace.